Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
The OAS boss calls for Venezuela to be kicked out of the organization, and the Maduro government hits back. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Monday, March 20. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. Secretary General of the Organization of American States, the OAS, wants regional governments to suspend Venezuela from the group, citing the nation's continued political crisis and failure to hold elections. Luis Almagro has insisted that Venezuela hold general elections by next month or face suspension from the regional bloc. His ultimatum comes despite the fact that general elections are not due in Venezuela until 2018. The election call was made in a 75-page report on Venezuela's political crisis. Almagro accused President Nicolas Maduro's socialist government of violating human rights and standards of democracy enshrined in the Inter-American Democratic Charter, to which Venezuela is a signatory. But Venezuela's Ministry of Foreign Relations Minister Delcy Rodriguez has opposed his ultimatum in a statement released on her official social media page. Rodriguez said, quote, Almagro heads the hemisphere's fastest right-wing group that harasses, assaults, and viciously attacks Venezuela without any scruples or ethics, end of quote. This is the second time that Almagro has asked the 34 member states of the OAS to intervene in the Venezuela crisis. He presented a similar report last May and threatened the South American nation with intervention, but that move was rejected by the majority of member states, which voted to back dialogue in Venezuela to resolve differences between the national government and political opposition. Meanwhile, in another matter, Secretary General Almagro has reiterated the OAS's commitment to seeing a restoration of peaceful relations between Guatemala and Belize. The two countries have been at loggerheads over ownership of the shared territory between the two countries known as the Saskatoon area. A number of incidents last year, including the fatal shooting of a Guatemalan boy in the area, heightened tensions between the countries, leading to an intervention by the OAS. During a trip to Belize last week, after visiting Guatemala, Almagro pledged to ensure everything is done to reach a peaceful and permanent solution to the territorial dispute.
The need to work together about the agreements that were signed by both countries, strengthening the dynamics of bilateral cooperation related to the development of better conditions for the education, cultural affairs, environment, and security between Belize and Guatemala. The need to assure justice according to the investigations and to find the responsible for those incidents that have happened in the zone of agencies. Why we strengthening the case of going to the ICJ? Because we all have to believe, and we believe especially, that the solutions should be according to law and according to right. We cannot pretend to resolve conflicts ignoring the rights of others or rolling over the rights of others.
Belize Foreign Minister Wilfred Earlington also said he visited Guatemala last week and met with his Guatemalan counterpart, Carlos Raul Morales.
We were briefed by the Guatemalan Foreign Minister on the situation there. We were briefed by both in terms of the political situation as well as in terms of how far they are reaching in terms of going to the ICJ. And then we were briefed by the SG-OAS in terms of what is the situation with the funding for the adjacent zone office and their own continued interest to help us in the process. issue was raised also with respect to how we were able to handle the issue of the death of the child and the investigations that took place subsequent thereto. And then I took the opportunity to brief them on where we are in terms of our process. You know, we were able to amend the Referendum Act to get it passed from National Assembly, Senate, and we are contemplating going for re-registration.
In an effort to deal with an upsurge in crime in the British Virgin Islands, Premier Dr. Orlando Smith says he will seek overseas help if necessary and consider pulling highly trained cops from retirement. He said no stone should be left unturned in bringing perpetrators to justice, particularly those who commit heinous crimes. Smith said in a statement, and I quote, "If this calls for bringing in assistance from abroad, let's do so immediately," end of quote. The Premier's resolve follows a directive by Governor John Duncan, who used his constitutional power to force the government to add $80,000 to the police budget for this financial year. Duncan said he was reluctant to resort to using that constitutional power, but insisted the police force is underfunded and at a time when crime is a big concern. His announcement has been endorsed by the Premier, who said the police must be provided with financial resources, and the Commissioner of Police and the entire force must also continue to be innovative and creative in carrying out their duties. In Trinidad and Tobago, the government is facing criticism for its decision to turn to a former Attorney General for help as it moves to resume the death penalty. But the current AG, Faris Alwari, says he doesn't feel slighted or bypassed. He insists it's not about personalities, but about getting the job done. CNC3's Avashi Tiwari Ruknarayan has that story.
Garvin Nicholas, the man who replaced Anand Ram Logan to sit as AG for 7 months, went to Facebook to say government is clueless in dealing with crime. He says, quote, seeking advice from former AG Maharaj on how to hang and splashing it all over the front page of the newspaper only endorses that the present AGs, both of them put together, have even less of a clue. But sitting AG Faris Al-Rawi says seeking advice is part of his job.
Simple point, last government did nothing. Nothing was in place. The conversation of hanging wasn't even had. Nobody knew how many people were on death row, what was the status. It's the first Attorney General that has told you how many people, how long, how many Pratt & Morgan has applied to, and that's where the difference is.
Mr. Al-Rawi says he initiated talks with Mr. Maharaj in 2015, and since then a tracking desk has been set up for case flow management.
Bottom line, 33 people are meant to face the hangman.
And despite Mr. Nicholas's assertion that this is the government's latest PR stunt at hoodwinking the population with Mr. Maharaj as a scapegoat, well, this AG says he's going to get the job done one way or another.
And Maharaj has been talking about how he intends to help government almost 2 decades after the last executions in the Twin Island Republic.
The man responsible for the country's last hanging guarantees the job can be done.
Well, I'm totally confident that it can be done because it was done during a period of time in which you had less resources in the administration of justice.
When gang lord Dole Chady, a convicted murderer, and 8 members of his gang were hanged in early June 1999, Mr. Maharaj, the then AG, says a concentrated case management system was in place to ensure deadlines were met. Of the 33 persons recorded as facing the hangman, none can actually be executed, and that's because of the landmark case you always hear about, Jamaica's Pratt & Morgan. That was when the Privy Council held it as unconstitutional to execute someone after 5 years of sentencing.
And if it became necessary for me to go and take a plane to see the Lord Chancellor, I did it. Or if I had to go before the international human rights bodies, I did it. Because I demanded that the government was entitled to have its case or its application heard very quickly. And the international body should not deliberately delay these applications and frustrate the carrying out of the laws of Trinidad and Tobago, and we were successful.
You see, those on Murder Row applied to international human rights agencies to plead on their behalf. But this time around, there's one less agency to which applications can be made. Mr. Maharaj has submitted a blueprint pro bono to the AG's office detailing the system which promises the job done with time to spare.
In the document, it shows step by step what can be done by a proactive case management unit with the Attorney General having a hands-on approach in order to ensure that the death penalty is carried out within 3.5 years.
On Thursday, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley announced he had sought the advice of Mr. Maharaj to ensure killers pay the price.
And still to come in Caribbean Newsline, Trinidad and Tobago jolted by a 4.9 magnitude quake. Stay with us. There's more news after the break.
Play at the 50th edition of Antigua Sailing Week. Not a sailor? Not a problem. Chase the race from the best beach locations and party in the ocean. On our beaches, a different one each day. Take a drink, take another, hula, play, dance in the sand. Dance to reggae, to soca, to the beat of your own drum under the moonlight. 7 beach days and party nights. Come play at the 50th edition of Antigua Sailing Week.
April 29th to May 7th, 2017.
Are you up for the challenge?
It's not about exercising. It's having the strength to do what you're passionate about. It's not about the road traveled. It's about the one to be traveled. An important thing in life is finding the perfect balance between body and soul. With a bottle of Ensure, you get the proteins, calcium, and 26 vitamins and minerals your body needs to live the best moments of your life with strength and energy. Your life, your health, your Ensure.
A 4.9 magnitude earthquake jolted Trinidad and Tobago on Monday afternoon, but there were no immediate reports of injury or damage. The quake occurred at 3:01 p.m. According to Seismic Research Center of the University of the West Indies, it struck at a depth of 10 kilometers. It was felt in Port of Spain and Arima, as well as in Tobago's capital, Scarborough. Haiti's outgoing Justice Minister Camille Junior Edouard has defended the decision to extradite former rebel leader Guy Philippe to the United States, where he is facing charges of drug trafficking. Edouard said Philippe, who was elected to the Senate last November, was not covered by any parliamentary immunity. He explained that protection granted to parliamentarians takes effect only from the day they take the oath. Philippe had not yet been sworn in when he was arrested. Last week, the Haitian Senate approved a resolution strongly condemning Philippe's arrest and extradition and demanding his return. It also wanted to impeach the Justice Minister so that he can be tried for high treason. Philippe has pleaded not guilty in the U.S. to the charges of cocaine trafficking and money laundering, which allegedly occurred from 1997 to 2003. If convicted, he faces up to life in prison. Caribbean technocrats were caught up in a diplomatic incident in French Guiana last week when men wearing black hoods stormed the meeting of the Cartagena Convention for the Protection and Development of the Marine Environment of the wider Caribbean region. It was the first time the meeting was held in that French-speaking nation. The men, who are known as the 500 Brothers, used the occasion of the meeting to register their demands for foreign prisoners to be sent back to their countries. We get more in this special report from our partners at France Caraïbes Broadcast.
The arrival of about 40 members of the collective 500 Brothers at the beginning of the session caused panic among the 25 representatives of the member states of the Caribbean. The 500 Brothers came directly to address the French Minister of the Environment, Ségolène Royal, who presided over the Cartagena conference, demanded more means for the security and extradition for foreign prisoners. The method used by the collective has been condemned. It's deplorable inaction, form and substance, since I had wished that this day would be granted to the prestigious guests of the minister. We had delegation from all the Caribbean, the ambassador of the United States, a delegate from Barbados, who believe it was an act of terrorism. Those who will leave have already indicated their departure for this evening, and the others will stay another 24 hours in French Guiana. So we will do everything to make it clear that it's true there is a malaise in terms of security, criminality, but the method.
Mais la méthode.
After this incident, several representatives of delegation left the room. Rodolphe Alexandre tried to reassure them and avoid the diplomatic incident. In the hemicycle, work of this convention for the protection of the marine environment have continued, and the member states have reached a joint declaration. France has ensured that action is now being taken on very specific initiatives, such as the creation of marine protected areas, the ban of plastic bags, marine educational areas, the fight against pollution that is discharged into the sea, biodiversity education, so that people are aware to this richness, that they understand why they are asked to reduce their productions. This 14th COP of the Cartagena Convention will remain in the memories. As for the collective of the 500 Brothers, they had begun their action in the morning by blocking one of the main avenues of Cayenne, where the consulate of Suriname and the Dominican Republic are located. Two countries targeted by the demands of the collective, who wishes to end delinquencies that comes from beyond French Guyana's borders. We are not racist. We want the prisoners of these countries to live so that there is room for our French Guyanese, our French, who must go to prison. In our collective, there are all the nationalities, from Dominican Republic, Guyana, Suriname, Haiti. All nationalities are there. Those who came to advance the country agree. But all the others who have come to spoil our lives, spoil our families, go home. So, we ask that the High Authority come to French Guiana to reabsorb and to provide solution. The discussion is ended. Thank you. The Secretary for Regional Affairs of the Prefecture, who met the collective 500 Brothers, said he was open to discussion.
And we thank our partners at France KDI Broadcast for that report. Do join us every Monday for news from the French West Indies. And ahead in Newsline Sport, Guyana Jaguars extend their lead in the Regional 4-Day Championship. Stay with us. Sport is around the corner.
In a place where legends start, the beach is just the beginning. So live a little for the exhilaration and the color of every moment, where time is and life is a spirited event. Immerse yourself in the culture, the music, the people, the island. Love Antigua and Barbuda. Embrace an experience that leaves you breathless, from cricket to sailing week to carnival and more. Antigua and Barbuda, the beach is just the beginning.
Roundhay Pharmacy now has 2 locations to fill your prescriptions promptly and efficiently. Our branch at One Accord Plaza is open daily, including Sundays and bank holidays. Also, check out our new drive-through location at Warren's Healthcare Complex in Michael, the first and only drive-through pharmacy in Barbados. For more information, call Roundhay One Accord Plaza at 421-7863 and our new drive-through branch at Warren's in Michael at 424-5574.
Barbados, renowned for its pristine beachfront and fantastic weather, continues to leave quite an impression on newcomers to the island and returning visitors. The Caribbean island, quite popular as a vacation hotspot, is not only beautiful due to its natural aesthetics. The island of Barbados continues to grow in popularity because of unique connections developed with our people, our culture. We can't wait to welcome you.
Cricket tops our Monday sport. Two-time defending champions Guyana Jaguars needed less than 45 minutes to brush aside Trinidad and Tobago Red Force by 10 wickets and extend their lead at the top of the table in the Regional 4-Day Championship. Resuming the final day of the 7th round contest on Monday on 3 without loss and needing only a further 53 runs to win, Jaguars cruised to their target with aggressive left-hander Shimron Hetmyer slamming 44 not out of 40 balls, including 7 7 fours and a 6. Ranjika Chandrika ended on 10 not out. It was the Jaguars' second straight win following the restart of the tournament and their 4th overall. In contrast, the loss was a major setback for Red Force, who had revived their campaign in the last round with a comprehensive victory over Leeward Islands Hurricanes. Over in Kingston, Test seamer Alzari Joseph combined with Jeremiah Lewis to destroy Jamaica Scorpions' second innings and propel Leeward Islands Hurricanes to a much-needed 34-run victory in an extraordinary low-scoring 7th-round game. Chasing 149 to win at Savannah Park on the 3rd day of the day-night contest, the hosts collapsed to 114 all out, with Joseph picking up 5 for 43, his 4th 5-wicket haul in only his 15th first-class game. Fellow pacer Lewis finished with 4 for 23 to add to his 4 from the first innings and end with match figures of 8 for 27. He earned man of the match honours. Tets batsman Jermaine Blackwood had a top score of 74 in an innings lasting 90 deliveries and a shade under 2 1/4 hours, and including 4 fours and a 6. And part-time off-spinner Ruston Chase grabbed a career-best 7-wicket haul as Barbados Pride crushed embattled Windward Islands Volcanoes by 9 wickets inside 3 days to pick up their 2nd straight win. The hosts quickly wrapped up the Volcanoes' innings for a meagre 71 after the visitors resumed the day at Kensington Oval on 3 for 5 and then raced to their target of 41 for the loss of just 1 wicket to complete victory half-hour before lunch. Left-handed opener Anthony Alleyne struck 26 from a mere 15 deliveries with 3 fours and 2 sixes before he was stumped by off-spinner Liam Sebastian. A mere 3 runs ahead at the start of the penultimate day, Volcanoes needed a miracle to push the game into the final day, but that did not materialize as Chase took 5 wickets to finish with 7 for 22. Batting superstar Chris Gayle will take no part in the 4-match T20 series against Pakistan starting later this month after being left out of the 16-man squad announced on Saturday. The left-handed Gayle also did not play in the 3-match series against the Pakistanis last September in the United Arab Emirates after advising selectors he was unavailable for a selection. But the West Indies Cricket Board, released on Saturday, offered no explanation for Gayle's omission from the squad, which will be led again by all-rounder Carlos Brathwaite. Also missing the squad are all-rounder Dwayne Bravo, who played in the last series in the UAE, and batsman Nicholas Pooran and Johnson Charles. Marquee all-rounder Andre Russell is unavailable due to a doping whereabouts suspension. Batsman Lyndall Simmons, who missed the last series for medical reasons, has returned and joins other seasoned campaigners of spinners Sunil Narayan, Kieron Pollard and Marlon Samuels. Meanwhile, Jonathan Carter and Jason Mohammed have been included in the squad, presumably based on their form in the recent one-day series against England. They are 2 of 3 new faces. Left-arm spinner Virasamy Perumal was a surprise inclusion after having not suited up for West Indies in 2 years. Impressive all-rounder Rothman Powell, who is yet to make his Test debut, that's his T20 debut, has retained his place in the squad. Test and one-day captain Jason Holder also kept his place in the squad despite not having played a T20 in 16 months. West Indies faced Pakistan in the first T20 on March 26 at Kensington Oval before clashing in the remaining games at Queen's Park Oval from March 30 to April 2. Over to football now. TNT Soca Warriors head coach Dennis Lawrence has invited former captain Kenwyn Jones back into a 15-man squad that will resume their World Cup qualification bid when they take on Panama on Friday. Jones was dropped in December by former coach Tom Saintfiet ahead of the Gold Cup playoffs with Suriname and Haiti. The current coach is confident that his pick will bring results for TNT. Ken Fuentes of C Sports has more in this report.
Lawrence, who will be leading the Warriors into competitive action for the first time against Panama on Friday, has picked a team featuring 13 foreign-based and 13 locally-based players, and is happy with the squad he has selected.
I think the boys have responded very well, the local-based players, to what we ask of them. We prepared them both physically, mentally, and tactically. We tried as best as possible. coming out of that group, we had to try and incorporate the players in them from abroad. So we had to select based on the process of the positions what was needed, required to what I want to do. And I think in the end, we put together a group that is going to give us the best possible chance of getting results against Panama.
Among the foreign-based contingent named are Kevin Molino, Levi Garcia, while defender Sheldon Batu is also among the 13 called up for the game. And Coach Lawrence spoke about the criteria used to select the players who play abroad.
I think assessing the overseas-based players, one of the things that was important to me to find out how much game time they get at the moment, to find out where they were from a physical condition, because obviously the boys that play in the MLS, their season has only been 2 games in, so we need to find out from a physical point of view where they were at.
Also keeping their place in the squad from the friendly against Barbados, a midfielder Leston Paul, defenders Alvin Jones and Tristan Hodge. Lawrence says the local players are going to play a critical role in helping their foreign-based players implement what he wants on the field.
Players and that worked with myself locally, they almost had a head start on the players that are abroad because I had more contact time with them. And I think a lot of them understand exactly what we're trying to do. So I think in this case, it's going to be the other way around, where the local players are going to be the one leading. And, you know, I'm hoping that the players that come from abroad could just come in and it would be easier for them to integrate with the use of the local players' knowledge.
The team will go into camp from Monday.
Jamaican Rajiv Mirage brought favorite clothes fall off from well off the pace to snatch the $125,000 correction stakes in style at Aqueduct in New York on Saturday. And yes, we're talking horse racing. The 31-year-old rider sat the 5-year-old bay mare in 5th in the 7-horse field before bringing her with a flying stretch run on the outside to dominate the final meters and reach the wire 4 1/4 lengths clear in 1 minute 11.06 seconds. Travis Stone has the call.
7th and last as they race up the backstretch. And it is Disco Chick up for an arrow lead with a half mile to go, but Hot City Girl continues on the outside to keep the pressure up. They're now head and head for the lead, the opening quarter in 22 and 4. Kalabaka's right in behind, racing 3rd, traveling well so far. Ultimate Holiday is 4th. Close Fall Off has to pick it up from 5th, has to go wide by the quarter pole. Turning for home now, Disco Chick gets away. Disco Chick kicks away by 3 lengths off the turn. Kalabaka popped outside, took a bad step. Meanwhile, here's Hot City Girl moving into 2nd. Close Fall Off, finding stride on the far outside. There's 1 furlong to go. Disco Chick has to dig down because here comes Close Fall Off on the outside, who's rallied from off the pace and is up for the lead and is opening up. Close Fall Off from off the pace to do it. And Disco Chick will hold 2nd from Hot City Girl. It's a photo for 4th between Splendid Gold and, remarkably, Kalabaka.
And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
The Anthony and Sabga Caribbean Awards for Excellence invites nominations for its next awards cycle in the categories Arts and Letters, Science and Technology, Public and Civic Contributions, and Entrepreneurship. Join the growing college of distinguished laureates from throughout the region we've honored in the last decade. Visit www.answercaribbeanawards.com for forms and instructions. Nominations close on March 31st.
Round Hay Pharmacy now has 2 locations to fill your prescriptions promptly and efficiently. Our branch at One Accord Plaza is open daily, including Sundays and bank holidays. Also, check out our new drive-through location at Warren's Healthcare Complex in Michael, the first and only drive-through pharmacy in Barbados. For more information, call Round Hay One Accord Plaza at 421-7863 and our new drive-through branch at Warren's in Michael at 424-5574.
Again, the major developments of this day. The OAS boss calls for Venezuela to be kicked out of the organization, but the Maduro government hits back. And in sport, Guyana Jaguars extend their lead in the regional 4-day championship. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to condanews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and do have yourselves a good night.